Welcome back to the online sessions on signals and systems. In the previous class, we have stopped our discussion while giving the expression for the Laplace transform and conversions from Fourier transform to Laplace transform and reverse Laplace transform to Fourier transforms by taking sigma value. If sigma is included, we can convert from Fourier transform to Laplace transform. If sigma is excluded, then it is simply we can convert from Laplace transform to the Fourier transform. Therefore, this lambda t part is going to be known as the convergence factor. E to the power minus sigma t is known as the convergence factor. That means convergence factor is a factor which is going to be known as the real part of S is known as the convergence factor. So always the condition here in Laplace transforms is that the convergence factor should be compulsorily greater than 0 for the signal to exist in a particular region of convergence, in a particular region of convergence. So therefore, what is most important is this e power sigma t is what very important for us for the analysis. So therefore, this e power minus t or e power minus sigma t or anything which comes with e power minus sigma t is nothing but a convergence factor. So which is very important for the analysis of the system for us here. Okay. Now, when you really think about this, so what is most important discussion that we are making here is the e power minus sigma t is basically the convergence factor. So based on the value of this particular real part of S, which is known as sigma, we normally going to get the ROC of the function, right? So let us go ahead with the example now. Let us take an example of x of t is equal to e power 2t into u of t. If you apply Fourier transform to this particular Fourier transform is will lead to an infinite value because it does not converge. So why? Because the e power 2t is increasing continuously as t is going to increase. So therefore, it does not give a finite value. So therefore, it is going to give an infinite value over the limits minus infinity to plus infinity. Now this function does not or cannot be represented by using Fourier transform, whereas the same function can be represented by using the Laplace transforms by simply multiplying the above representation of the Fourier transforms with e power sigma t. By simply providing e power sigma t, it is nothing but what now? If I take t as common, what I can write this as sigma minus of sigma plus j omega into t, which is nothing but S. S is equal to sigma plus j omega t. So that means sigma is known as real part of S. So that means we are simply using a real part of S also in the equation. When you really write this, the time domain represented signal I can write as equal to e power simply 2 minus sigma of t into u of t. Now when you solve this for the Laplace transform, then this 2 is normally going to come like minus 2, this sigma is going to become like plus sigma, and the entire factor, this factor is normally going to be known as the convergence factor. So therefore, for ROC to exist, compulsorily we should have this minus 2 plus sigma greater than 0. So when I'm going to write this minus 2 plus sigma greater than 0, then sigma would be greater than 2. That means this particular function is going to give a value for sigma greater than 2. For sigma less than 2, definitely there is no finite value. Therefore, in that limit, the Fourier transform is not existing. But whereas after sigma is equal to 2, Laplace transform is normally going to exist. So if the Fourier transform is going to exist, it should exist for all the values. That is what the drawback here. So whereas in the case of the Laplace transforms, that is not the case here. Okay. So if you see this particular thing over here, the time domain signal is simply extending, increasing exponentially. So it is not absolutely integrable. That means we really cannot find the value. Whereas when you multiply this with e power sigma t, then x of t is having e power 2t. Therefore I can write this as e power 2 minus sigma of t. So if sigma is equal to 2, then it's going to be e power 0. E power 0 is going to be 1. We'll be having some value definitely. So after sigma is equal to 2, sigma greater than 2, then the value is then the values are normally going to come for this particular function. So therefore this function is simply absolutely integrable function. So using Laplace transform, this function is going to exist. That means this function is going to produce some value using the Laplace transform, whereas the same function is not producing any value if you apply the Fourier transforms. That means Fourier transform does not exist for this function, whereas the Laplace transform is going to exist for this particular function. That means using Laplace transforms, we are providing solution to this type of a signal, and a Laplace transform has failed to provide a solution to this particular type of a signal. That means it could not really transform this into the frequency domain. So therefore we can just simply write down some of the advantages and limitations of the Laplace transforms. Now what are the limitations and advantages of the Laplace transforms? Let us see. What are the limitations we can have? The first limitation is going to be frequency response of the spectrum cannot be drawn. Unlike the Fourier transforms, we really cannot draw the frequency response of the Laplace transform signal, are estimated. That means we cannot really estimate the frequency response. We cannot draw the frequency response. Instead, only the pole zero plots can be drawn on the S plane. On the S plane, we can draw the pole zero plots. And next limitation that you're going to have is like S is equal to j omega is used only for sinusoidal steady state analysis. So if you want a steady state analysis for sinusoidal signals, we use sigma equal to 0 in the Laplace transforms. And coming to the part of advantages, what are the advantages of Laplace transforms? The greatest advantage is that it's going to convert the differential equations into a simple algebraic equations. So that is what the advantage that we're going to have, that it is going to convert the differential equations into the algebraic equations. The next, so because of this particular property, the LTI systems can be analyzed using the Laplace transforms. LTI system is what? Linear time invariant systems can be really analyzed by using the Laplace transforms. Okay, because LTI system outputs can be represented by using a differential equation of second order, third order, first order, like that. So those signals can be really analyzed easily by using the Laplace transforms. So signals which are not convergent in Fourier transform, that's what we have seen, are convergent in the Laplace transforms, but not in all the regions of ROC. In a specified regions of ROC, under the constraints of sigma value, we will be getting the convergent values of the signals, but not all the values. That is what the limitation we have. So, but anyhow, a better solution we are going to get in comparison with the Fourier transforms in Laplace transforms. So that's what signals are not convergent in Fourier transforms, but are convergent in the Laplace transforms. So convolution in time domain can be obtained by multiplication in the S domain. So convolution means what? I tell you already, convolution is a complex task. Why? Because it is a vector multiplication, two signal multiplications. So definitely it is going to be a complex process. So that complex convolution is simply obtained by multiplication in the S domain. So complex part we'll do in the time domain. The same operation when you do in the S domain, we perform that by using simple multiplication. So multiplication is a scalar notation. Convolution is a vector multiplication notation, right? Meaning is same, but the context on which we use multiplication is different. If you use multiplication on the context of multiplying two signals, then it is called convolution. When you go with the context of two scalars, it is simple multiplication. So that means scalar multiplication is simpler than the vector multiplication. So therefore, that is what we have. Now let us look into the Laplace transform of some commonly used signals. Say the impulse signal is a basic signal we have, delta of t. We already know delta of t is will be equal to 1 for t equal to 0, and 0 for for t not equal to 0. So therefore, Laplace transform delta of t is equal to, I can write as x of s is equal to, what is the formula for Laplace transforms? Simply delta of t into e power minus st dt. In the Fourier transforms, we have s is replaced with j omega. Therefore, for Fourier transforms, what we have written, x of j omega is equal to integral of delta of t into e power j omega t dt. Now here, j omega is replaced with s, where s is equal to sigma plus j omega. Okay. Now this particular integral value this particular integration will give me a value 1 at t is equal to 0. That's what the impulse function we have. So if you substitute t is equal to 0, then that means e power 0, of course, then the value will be equal to 1. So therefore, the Laplace transform's value is equal to 1. It is same as the Fourier transform. Fourier transform delta of t also, we have got this as 1 for all j omega part. So for entire j omega part, we have got this value as equal to 1. Similar to the Fourier transforms, we have got the Laplace transform representation also. So apart from finding out the Laplace transform of a given signal, we have to represent the graphical notation of the function values. So that is known as region of convergence. By using the region of convergence graphical representation, we normally going to show how pictorially the values are going to exist in the Laplace transforms. All right. So what is 1 means? 1 is going to be there for plus j omega as well as minus j omega. That means the values are simply going to converge continuously from minus to plus here, because it is going to be uniform. Therefore, the ROC is the entire S plane. The ROC shown below is the ROC for the impulse signal. Okay. So that means the ROC is going to exist for all sigma, because it is independent of sigma and j omega. So therefore, for all the values, the ROC is normally going to exist here, whose amplitude is going to be unity here, plus 1 and minus 1. So here the value is going to be there for plus 1 and minus 1. It is somewhat more specific than the Fourier transform representation. The Fourier transform, you have simply drawn only one line here. This bottom line we have not drawn, because there is no case of ROC when we are discussing about the Fourier transforms. Let us go with another problem now. That is what, find the Laplace transform of the unit step function u of t. So u of t is the unit step function, or to find out Laplace transform, you know the mathematical form of unit step function. U of t is equal to 1 for t greater than 0, and it is 0 for t less than 0. All right. So let us find out the Laplace transform. L of u of t, Laplace transform u of t is equal to L of some x of t is given. So Laplace transform of the function is known as x of s. Okay, general representation is equal to integral of u of t into e power minus st. So u of t is nothing but a single-sided function. Therefore, it is extending from 0 to infinity. The value of u of t is equal to 1 for all t greater than 0. So therefore, we are taking the limits as 0 to infinity, e power minus st. Let us apply integration to this e power minus st, e power minus st by minus s, simple integration. Then over the limit 0 to infinity. So here e power minus infinity minus e power 0 by minus s. So e power minus 0 is e power 0 only. So therefore minus s. So what is that result we are going to have? It is minus 1 by minus s. So therefore it will be 1 by s. So 1 by s is the Laplace transform of this particular unit step function. Now, apart from this, we have to indicate the ROC also for the Laplace transforms. Now, what is the condition for convergence? The condition for convergence is the integral value of this or Laplace transform is going to get converged for all real values of s greater than 0. What is the real value of s? It is nothing but sigma for us. S is equal to what? Sigma plus j omega. J omega part is imaginary part, sigma is real part. So real part of sigma should be greater than 0. That is the condition that we'll be having it over here. That means I can write it as S real part of S greater than 0 or sigma greater than 0. Right. So this is the correct representation. Real part of S greater than 0 or sigma greater than 0. Sigma means what here? Just to draw two axes, right? Where these two axes are going to meet. That meeting point is the origin 0 point. And all the values which are right side of 0 are going to be called as the positive values of sigma. Left side is going to be definitely negative values of sigma. Okay. So here for all sigma greater than 0, the ROC is going to exist here as per this. So in this S, let us represent S is equal to 1 by S is equal to 1 by S is equal to sigma plus j omega I can write. So real part of S is nothing but what? Sigma. So therefore if sigma greater than 0, for all sigma greater than 0, this particular function is going to have the values. So for all the values sigma greater than 0 means what? All this is nothing but the region of convergence now. All right. In the unit step function. So therefore, this is the ROC representation of the unit step function. It shows x-axis as sigma, y-axis is going to be the j omega. This y-axis is going to be the j omega, x-axis is going to be the sigma. So sigma is also going to take minus values, plus values. All these things we normally going to have it over there. Okay, let us move on to the another thing here. So if x of t is taken as say some k, earlier it is u of t means equal to 1 over the limit 0 to infinity. Now if it is taken as k, the answer is going to be simply k by s. Earlier we got 1 by s, no? Instead of u of t, if I got k constant, I'll be having simply k by s. That is the representation of the Laplace transforms. Now next simple function is going to be the ramp function. Laplace transform ramp function. So we already know the ramp function. Ramp function is a function which will be varying continuously or linearly with respect to time as t, will be greater than or equal to 0 is known as a ramp function. So how can I represent ramp function in the case of the continuous time signal? How I represent while we discussed about the Fourier series? R of RT is equal to T into U of T we represented as the impulse signal. Remember this? So ramp signal represented as alpha into T we have represented. Okay. So I can just simply write this as in a similar manner where I want to get a maximum value of U of T. Now U of T instead of that alpha I'll take as U of T. So for our simplicity case, I can take U of T for the ramp signal representation. So I can simply write the Laplace transform of this ramp signal R of T is equal to X of S is equal to this general formula I have. So R of T is equal to T into U of T into e power minus st dt, because we know that U of T is going to extend between minus 0 to plus infinity. So one integration is simply going to get solved very easily. So therefore I'll take this as U of T. Right. So t into e power minus st dt is the form I am going to have. So it's simply going to be uv form. So uv is equal to u into integral of v dt minus of integral of d by dt of u into integral of v dt. That is the general formula we have. Simply we expand this equation in the uv form. Once you expand, you get this something like t into e power minus st by minus s, applying limit 0 to infinity, and d by dt of t is 1. This is the same thing. Then once again applying integration to this, I normally going to have, I can just take this as s outside. This minus into minus plus I'll be having. I'll take 1 by s outside. So one more minus s will be coming in the denominator. So limits are going to be 0 to infinity. All this part I will be having. So this part is normally equal to 0. Why? Because in one case e power minus infinity is 0. Minus t is 0 here. So therefore this part simply goes into 0. Then second part, let us come. So in the second part, e power minus infinity is 0. So e power 0 is 1. So I'll be having this as going to be as 1 by s square. So the ramp, the Laplace transform of ramp signal is equal to 1 by s square. And the ROC is going to exist for real part of s greater than 0. It is not written, but in the exam you have to write it clearly. If you write s greater than 0, we cannot say how the examiner is going to treat that as. So please write down real part of s greater than 0. That means sigma greater than 0, what we really mean by, doing it. Now, similar to the previous case we have, for all sigma greater than 0, the values are going to exist in this particular ramp signal also. That means the output of, the ROC of ramp signal is same as the ROC of the, unit step signal. If you consider the maximum amplitude of the ramp is going to be unity. So that is what we can just have. Then another function, similarly, we can just go ahead. T square into u of t. So apply Laplace transform. This is the equation I'll get. Then uv formula, expand this uv formula. Then finally, I'll be getting as 2 by s cube. And region of convergence is also going to be same as the previous ramp and unit step function. For all sigma greater than 0, the values are going to exist in this function. Then real exponential signal, right? Now this is important one. Many times this question has been asked in the exam. Find the Laplace transform of the following function and draw the ROC. This e power at, e power minus at, these functions, that means all these varieties have been used many times in the exam. So therefore, you have to focus on this particular problem of exponential signals. Many times exponential signals Laplace transforms has been asked continuously. So therefore, let us focus on this now carefully. Now Laplace transform of what I can write, e to the power at u of t I can write. So which is nothing but equal to x of s. All right. So what is this formula I have? Integral of e power at u of t into e power minus st dt over the limits minus infinity to plus infinity. Because u of t is there, u of plus t. So therefore it is going to extend between 0 to infinity. Okay. So if I write it 0 to infinity, then I can simply replace u of t as 1. So therefore, I can write this as, if I take minus s common, I can write s minus a of t dt. Simple integration, apply integration, e power minus of s minus at is equal to, this is the one integration we have. So finally, apply the limits. So e power minus infinity is 0, then e power 0 is 1. So it's going to be like minus 1 by s minus a. So this factor is minus 1 by s minus a. It is minus 1 into minus plus. I'll be having 1 by s minus a. I'll be having 1 by 1 by s minus a as the Laplace transform of this particular equation for us. Okay. Now, what is the region of convergence now? The region of convergence is nothing but real part of s minus a should be greater than 0. It is given here. Region of convergence for this function is going to lie for real part of s minus a greater than 0. Real part of s minus a means what? What is s? Sigma plus j omega is nothing but s. So j omega is not real part, imaginary part, we neglect that. So we will be having sigma minus a greater than 0. Therefore, sigma greater than a. For all sigma greater than a, we normally going to have ROC for this particular exponential signal. Okay. So now what is A? A is positive here. See carefully. A is positive here. So that means here this is the this is the origin point, which is the meeting point of sigma axis and j omega axis 0. After 0, this is positive values of sigma. Sigma should be A is positive. So draw a line here with some positive value of A. Now the function is going to exist over all these positive values of A. So that means what? The region of convergence is going to exist for all these positive values of A. Now exactly similar to this, what we can have is, if you write this as e power minus at into u of t. If you use e power plus at, you got as 1 by s minus a. If you use e power minus at into u of t, what do you get? You will be getting as 1 by s plus a. That means try to remember the Laplace transform equations here. Keep them as formulas better, so that in the examination, if at all it is asked for 2 marks, you can write it directly and simply represent the ROC of that particular signal. Remember? Right. Now, see, the ROC is now going to change. Why is that ROC is going to change now? ROC is normally going to be like for all sigma, for all ROC is going to lie between real part of s plus a greater than 0. Okay. So which means sigma greater than minus a, sigma greater than minus a is the ROC. Sigma greater than minus a means what? A should take minus value. Sigma greater than minus a means all these values. That means you have to draw a line here like this vertically. You have to draw a line vertically like this, and over this line you normally going to have all the region of convergence values. That means how the values are going to be now like this. The values are normally going to be there like that. Okay. So the region of convergence will be something like this. Okay. If you erect a line here, vertical line, we normally going to have the region of convergence here like this. Okay. So this is what we have here for region of convergence of v power minus at into u of t. Okay. Let us move on to the next problem, similar problem. And here we normally consider the problem for this problem as